Okay, so suppose first things first, just to introduce the school. So we're actually the biggest school of chemical engineering in Ireland, and we're the highest ranked at the moment as well. We have a big birthday coming up next year. We're going to be 70. So we've got our 70th anniversary coming up, which again just shows, I suppose, how much history is behind some of these courses and what has led to this current day. We're quite a big school. We've got 19 faculty. We've got joint appointments with NIBRD, and as we're going through, we'll be mentioning NIBRD a little bit more. It's a fantastic facility here in UCD, and one we're delighted to be able to engage with as part of some of these courses that we're talking about today as well. We have plenty of PhD students and research fellows as well. And again, I suppose why that's important is it just shows the degree of research activity going on in the school, which is very, very important, in particular as these courses start moving more into the postgraduate arena. That research activity is very, very important because it translates as well into the material that is being taught to you. And look, we've been around for a long time, so there's many, many graduates. By last count, over 1,500 graduates have gone through. And again, that's something which we're building on year on year. So loads of history here in the school. What I'm going to talk to you about over the course of this 20 minutes that I'm talking to you is primarily to do with postgraduate programs. And when you're going through, you're going to see that a lot of it is focused around, as I said, biopharma as well. And from the slide that I have on screen, that's because in Ireland, that's such a strong sector. Okay. So in terms of where our students go when they leave us, we can see that about 30% are actually going into the biopharmaceutical industry, about 25% into the chemical industry, 20% then going into engineers that might be into consultancies or design houses that are feeding other sectors. And then you have people who go into business, public sector, food and drink, etc. as well. But again, just showing how strong the pharma and biopharma industry is in Ireland as an employer for graduates coming out of the chemical engineering programs in Ireland in particular. A lot of people who stay here in Ireland, about 70%. About 10% might go over to the UK, 10% over to America, 5% in Europe, and then 5% to the rest of the world. So again, while a lot do stay in Ireland, we do spread ourselves out as well. Some of the programs that I'm going to be talking to you about today are very kind of heavily geared towards the biopharmaceutical industry in Ireland. And this slide is, I suppose, maybe demonstrating why that is a little bit as well, in terms of the top pharmaceutical companies in the world. All of the top 10 pharmaceutical companies have a presence in Ireland. We have more than 23 biopharmaceutical manufacturing sites in Ireland, which is a huge, huge number. And looking at the kind of some of the stats I'm presenting here, we've more than 30,000 employed, 15 billion in exports. There's been some very good recent developments in terms of capital expenditure in Ireland, which again is just very important to show that the industry is growing here and it's being nurtured well. And just a very strong statistic backing up some of the big things I was saying before is that more than 65% of our graduates are currently entering into either pharma or biopharmaceutical roles. So again, there's a symbiotic relationship here between the industrial composition in Ireland, which is obviously very well represented, and what opportunities are then coming up for our graduates when they leave our course as well. The first program which I'm going to talk to you about is the MNJSC in Biopharmaceutical Engineering, the full-time program, and it's led by my colleague, Associate Professor Colin Clark. Just in terms of, again, some numbers around it and some details. Typically, there's in around between 20 and 30 students per year. Now, last year there was a slightly higher number, closer to, it was around 40, 45, but typically it's somewhere between 20 and 30 students. In terms of the makeup, about 40% coming from the EU, about 60% coming from outside the EU. It's a full-time program. We've been running it for the last 15 years. And I put through more than 450 graduates, and the employment uptake has been extremely good for those graduates coming out the other side. In terms of who it's suitable for, any BSc will make you a candidate for this program. And also if you have a BTech or a BE degree, that'll also make you a suitable candidate for it. Just I suppose in terms of where some of the students have gone following graduation from this course, again, just showing some of the top companies that have employed in Ireland, Pfizer, Takeda, PM Group, Jacobs, Mylan, etc. So again, there's a good mix here between pharmaceutical and biopharmaceutical companies, consultancies, etc. So I suppose very wide employment for our graduates coming out the other side, which is very, very important. And the students are in very high demand once they go through this qualification as well. The course itself is broken up into 3 trimesters. So the first is the autumn trimester. So in this first autumn trimester, what you're going to be looking at are modules such as Principles of Biopharmaceutical Engineering, Animal Cell Culture Technology, Facility Design and Operation, Analytical Science for Biopharma. There's a NIBRT Bioprocessing Laboratory module, Industrial Regulation and Management. So what we're trying to show is there's a real mix between trying to get an underlying understanding of the science that goes into biopharmaceutical manufacturing, along with the practical design elements, as you can see here in module 40110, facility design and operation. So trying to get that balance between the underlying science and the practical side of engineering for these facilities, which is going to make you very, very, I suppose, suitable for entry into that industry afterwards. Moving then into the spring trimester, your core modules are going to be made up of downstream processing, research methodologies, data analytics for biopharma, and bioprocess design. So again, downstream processing, again, very much looking at, I suppose, the core engineering elements that are going to be needed in order for you to be an engineer in one of these biopharmaceutical manufacturing facilities. You combine that then with the highly scientific element of, say, data analytics and the practical side again of bioprocess design. So again, trying to get that balance between um, science and design, engineering design, which will hopefully again give you that really rounded appreciation of the industry prior to looking for employment. Then, in terms of options, you get to choose 2 of these 3 optional modules: bioprocess scale up and technology transfer, gene therapy technology and processing, and GMP manufacturing of advanced therapeutics. So again, given a little bit of flexibility there for people to follow their interests and to go after the bits that interest them the most. In the summer, then there is the 30 credit project, which is one of the primary elements of, I suppose, the capstone of the program that you're going to be going through. It typically runs for 12 weeks, and either in UCD or NIBRD or combination. This can either be a lab-based project where you're in the lab and you're physically doing experiments and analyzing the results, or it could be a paper-based project where you are more carrying out theoretical analysis on a topic to do with pharmaceuticals or biopharmaceutical manufacturing. So typically that will often be split about half and half, experimental versus paper-based. In terms of program delivery, it's an in-person module. It's delivered by academic staff in the school. We have industrial experts coming in, and we also have both joint appointments with NIBRD and experts from NIBRD who deliver module content as part of this program. 90 credits, so there are 12 modules that you complete, as you would have seen in the previous slide, and then there's the research project during the summer. So you have 2 trimesters of lectures, and then you have that 30 credit project at the end, but it's an in-person module. As I was kind of saying, kind of going through, the objective is really just to try and get that mix between scientific understanding and industrial, I suppose, appreciation of design and being able to design biopharmaceutical facilities. And just a note to flag that I suppose the content has been updating even last year versus the year before, etc. The content has been updating and is being updated, and recently it's been revised to include modules aligned with cell and gene therapies and vaccines, etc. Because these are very topical concepts in the industry right now, and we want students coming through this program to have been able to touch on these and get that experience. So just to show that the content is being updated all the time. The next program I'm going to talk about is the MNJC Biopharmaceutical Engineering Part-Time Program. This is run by my colleague, Professor Eliana Soto. So this is again the previous one was the full-time program. This is a part-time one, which is primarily geared at people who are maybe working in industry or have full-time jobs at the moment, full or part-time jobs at the moment, and who wish to upskill themselves in the area of biopharmaceutical engineering so that they can either advance their careers where they currently are or maybe take a sidewards step into this. It's delivered on Friday evenings, afternoons, but again, I'll talk about that in a next slide that comes through. Again, it's been running for many, many years, since 2006. It's a very popular program. And again, similar to what I was saying beforehand, it's constantly been revised in order to make sure that we are staying up to date and talking about the most cutting edge aspects of industry. I said typically kind of aimed at people who either have a scientific or engineering background, maybe not in this exact area, and who want to upskill in this area, or people who are currently working there that area and want to kind of take that kind of higher level of expertise step forward in their careers. And again, very, very similar to the full-time program. It's delivered in conjunction with NIBRT, which is on campus here in UCD, which is an absolutely fantastic facility. And again, to date, we've graduated more than 160 graduates, again, who are very highly sought after and employed both here in Ireland and abroad. In terms of the nuts and bolts of the program itself, sorry, I clicked that by accident. So again, it's delivered across 2 years. So in year one, you're looking at modules such as biotechnology and biopharma, animal cell culture, principles of biopharma engineering, cell therapy technology and processing, downstream processing, fill finish, and NIBRT bioprocessing laboratories. Year two, then you're looking at facility design and operation for biopharmaceutical manufacturing, research methodologies, bioanalytical science for biopharma, industrial regulation and management, scale up and tech transfer, and then you have the options of gene therapy and technology, GMP manufacturing. So there's a big overlap there in terms of kind of content as you're seeing from the full-time program. The difference, one of the primary difference here being this is a part-time program, which is very, very suitable for people who are currently in employment and wouldn't maybe have the option of going back and doing the full-time program. But of course, the difference being as well that it's spread out over 2 years. And then similar to the full-time program, you have the capstone 30 credit project, which takes place in the summer of year two, where again you get to get stuck into that little bit more kind of meaty project for 30 credits. And again, the topic will be one that'll be worked out with you based off what's available in your current situation. In terms of course delivered, it's delivered in a hybrid format. So again, obviously brilliant if people can attend in person, but we appreciate that that is not always possible. And again, very similar to what I was saying about the full-time MNJC, that it is delivered both by academic staff, and we do have industry experts coming in and delivering content as part of this as well, to make sure that again you get that balance right, because we want these to be very practical programs which give you very practical outputs coming out the other side. Lectures take place on Friday afternoon evenings between 2 and 6 p.m. over 2 years. So again, designed for people who are working, to give them that option to study this material but still be able to hold on their full-time jobs at the same time. There is an element of recognition for prior learning. So again, this is something which would, I suppose, on a case-by-case basis be discussed with the program director. But in particular, the bioprocessing labs. So again, some people may have actually completed NIBRT courses, etc., or there are additional, I suppose, RPL prior learning options available if people have, for example, more than 5 years experiential learning in the sector. So someone may have been very heavily involved in the sector from a practical perspective already. And again, this is really handled on a case-by-case basis with the program director. But just to note that this is something which is a possibility for this program. The next one, which I'm going to talk about, is the Professional Certificate in Manufacturing of Cell and Gene Therapies and Vaccines. So again, this is a part-time program as well, and it's delivered by my colleague, Dr. Jessica Whelan. So what this is really it's a program that's designed in order to facilitate people again who may be working in this space who really want to gain that additional expertise and upskill in the area of cell and gene therapies and vaccines because it is such a topical area in industry at the moment, and particularly in Ireland with all of that pharmaceutical manufacturing taking place. Um, so again, what we're looking to do here once more is to just balance that idea of practical insight with deep scientific understanding. And again, this might be suitable for someone who is maybe has a background in engineering or biopharmaceutical engineering, but maybe not, doesn't have the expertise in this area and wants to upskill. So it is a certificate, so it's a little bit lighter touch in terms of it's not a full master's program, which means that from a time commitment, it's obviously a lower time commitment and something that people might be able to take on. So it consists of three modules: therapy technologies and processing, gene therapy and vaccine technologies and processing, and GMP manufacturing of advanced therapeutics. So again, trying to give that balance between very technical scientific content here as part of cell therapy technologies, etc., with the slightly more practical element of GMP manufacturing as listed at the bottom. And you can see that there was a little bit of overlap between some of the programs that we talked about earlier, where we're trying to bring some of this material into these programs as well to make sure that those doing the master's programs get to touch on these as they go through it, as they go through their time with us. Course delivery. So again, similar to our part-time MNGSC, it's delivered in a hybrid format on Fridays between 2 and 6 p.m. It happens in the spring trimester, so over 12 weeks between January and April. I've just identified three of my colleagues who do teach on it: Professor Niall Byrne, Dr. Jessica Whelan, and Dr. Daniela Bohm. And assessments are continuous in nature. And again, with the idea that people are working, people are looking to do this as an upskilling opportunity, something that will obviously help them hopefully a lot in their career afterwards, but trying to balance that from a time perspective. So again, it's continuous assessment based, three modules over one trimester between January and April, and delivered in a hybrid format again. So again, look, if people can be there, that's absolutely fantastic, and that's the ideal scenario. But if not, we also facilitate that. And then the last one that we're going to look at, the last program that we're going to look at is the MNGSC in chemical engineering, the full-time program. So I'm sorry, that is run by my colleague, Professor Veronica Sofianos. So it's a 90 credit 12-month program, so a 1 year program which consists of 12 modules, 12 taught modules, and one research project, again 30 credits. It is full-time in person, so it's attendance in UCD and delivery in the kind of traditional format. Um, and typically what we say is it's suitable for people who may have already a degree or a bachelor's in chemical engineering and they want to use this as an opportunity to gain that master's level qualification, that slightly more advanced level of qualification in chemical engineering as they go through. The module content, it's a mix of scientific and industrial content. And again, that's a principle that we try to bring through all of our programs, but it's kind of coming up time and time again. But that is just something to note here. And in terms of like what that actually consists of, so we have in the first trimester, we have chemical and bioprocess reaction engineering. So again, very engineering science based, advanced separation processes, advanced heat transfer and fluid mechanics, advanced process design. And then in the second trimester, we have chemical and bioprocess engineering design, environmental engineering, process sustainability and renewable energy, process control, and advanced characterization technology. So you have a real blend there between some really hardcore, highly challenging technical content modules, such as process control, heat and fluid mechanics, reaction engineering, etc. And then you have kind of practical modules which are going to, I suppose, give you a broader understanding of chemical engineering and the engineering sector, looking at environmental engineering, sustainabilities, renewables, etc. So just trying to get that balance between hardcore science and also general appreciation of being an engineer in industry. And then in the third trimester, this is where you do your 30 credit project, where you'll be assigned a supervisor from our school here. You'll be provided a project. Similar to when we were talking about the biopharmaceutical masters, the project can be either experimental, where you're in the lab and you're carrying out experiments, or they can be paper-based, i.e., that you're doing simulations or theoretical-based exercises at your desk or with your computer. And again, that's something that is there's a range of different projects offered, and so there's a right range now. So it's going to be a split between what kind of projects people will be doing. And that is the end of my presentation. So I know we only kind of had a reasonably short time to run through those bits, so I hope that was of use. And again, more than happy to answer any questions after it. So, Laura, back to yourself.
Great, thank you very much, Philip. A really great comprehensive overview of the programs within your school, which is appreciated. So next up we have is one of our current students, Astwan, who is currently studying our MNGC in biopharmaceutical engineering, and they're going to give a bit of an overview of their experiences as students so far.
Thank you, Laura. Hi, everyone. My name is Astapan, and I'm currently pursuing a master's degree in biopharmaceutical engineering at UCD School of Engineering. So I joined UCD in September 2025, which is a relatively short time, only 3 months to be exact. But in the span of that time itself, I have got to learn and grow a lot. So for today's section, I have divided I have divided into three parts. Why I chose UCD and was it a good decision or not? Then I'll get you into an overview of the modules, the assignments, the quizzes, and other academic stuff. And lastly, how this degree is actually gonna help you in your career ahead. And I'll try to share my experience, my personal experience with you until now here at the UCD. So starting with why did I choose UCD in the first place? To be honest, I just Googled up top universities in Ireland and UCD showed up there. But yeah, that was not convincing enough for me. So I did a bit of research myself, which I'm sure you all must be doing as well. So I wanted a degree which would be recognized globally by the employers, and well, the biopharmaceutical engineering program provided by UCD is valued by industry key players like Pfizer, Johnson and Johnson, MSD, Amgen, AbbVie, and like many more. And also, since I was coming from a biotechnology background, I was new to biopharma. And so I went through the modules offered in the program in the fear whether I would be able to cope up. And I was impressed at how they had, like, how these modules were aligned to the needs of the industry. Basically, whatever you are being taught will be of use when you get into your first job. So that's the key driver for me initially. So, like, was it a good decision? Well, that was all I had read and seen online, but was it really like that? Like, indeed, it was. And I believe you'll feel the same way once you experience the campus life yourself. The campus is just huge, and still you will find it packed with students at any given point of time. There are multiple different activities going on throughout the campus. So, in my case, once we arrived here in UCD, so we had our induction on the very first day. So, we had a common induction for all students of School of Engineering. And then we had a program specific induction where we got to meet our professors, our fellow students. So, like in our class, there are around 45 students in this particular batch. And like there are a good number of Indian students, there are Irish students, there are students from China. So, like, it's a good mixture of international students there. So we got to interact with each other. We spoke to our professors what are their PhD projects and all that. So you get to talk to them, and afterwards, uh, so yeah, you'll be. We also met our program director, Dr. Colin. So he'll be informing you about everything you need to know about the specific program. Then apart from this, induction program, there are plenty of things to do on the campus. So we have a international student lounge, so you can go there. There are like coffee mornings hosted there by the students, so you can go, you can interact with other international students in the UCD. Then there's also UCD student desk available. If so, like, while I was once I was here, I had a few queries, because since I was new on the campus. So I usually would go to the UCD student desk And I would suggest you for the same. So if you are facing any kind of problem or have any queries, you can just go there without any hesitation. And for most of the part, they will be like they will get it solved for you. Like I remember, I had a problem with my SysWeb account, so I went there. Then I again had a problem with my certificate of attendance, how to get it. So like for these small problems, you can just go to the student desk and it will be solved for you. And then we also have uh, then there's every yeah, then there's also theater on the campus. So if you are in a mood to watch movie, you can just go to the student center and watch movies there. And with lately with the trimester ending, so library is the current hotspot for students. It has been like basically home for us students for from last few weeks. Like as the trimester is ending and everyone is getting buckled up for the end term exam. So UCD has 5 different libraries, but James Joyce Library is the most popular one with 4 levels. And even after that, it is getting difficult to get a seat these days there. Like like you can imagine just how popular it is among the student. And well, even I can sit at home and like I can just sit at my place and study, but the kind of motivation you get when you see literally thousands of students there sitting in library is like incomparable. So if you are lacking some motivation, you can just go to the library and you'll get plenty of it. Then UCD also has a number of student societies like Engineering Society, Dance Society, Harry Potter Society, Food Society, and like it's a never-ending list of societies. So you can just go and join any of these societies in a fresher week. So we had our fresher week in September, some midweek, maybe I don't remember, but yeah, it was a kind of the for the entire week. The vibe of the university was completely different. So there were so all these societies had put up their stalls and there were live band playing in the ground. So you can just go enjoy the band, join the societies, enjoy food. So it was kind of very nice environment during the particular week. And this particular year, Food Society was quite particular, like popular among the students. They had a long queue in their on their counter for people to join. So, like, who doesn't like free food? So that's what Food Society does. They organize like eating events. So yeah, if you are interested, you can just join. And one of the another important thing for me was like particularly you get free Wi-Fi on the entire campus. So we have UCD wireless. You don't have to worry about internet connection when you're in the campus. And also there's Faro's printer set print. So like even Faro's printer setup in the UCD library. Then we also have one printer machine set up in our engineering school. So in case like you want to get any of your notes printed or any other document, you can just use your UCD student card and you can get the printouts at a like very easily. And also the campus has a different multiple numbers of bus stops in the campus. So like commute is very easy. So I live in a northern Dublin and the college is in the southern side, but still I don't face any issue in the commute because like every 10 to 15 minutes there are buses. So you don't need to worry about the commute. And then coming to the program itself, what I feel is that a program is structured in such a good way that you start with a zero in the first trimester, and so you need not to worry whether you are coming from a science or engineering background because you will be taught from the very basics. Even I was a bit worried when I read the module and saw topics like mass and energy transfer, heat transfer, mass and energy balance. But believe me, it was taught in such an organized manner that I ended up liking the subject. Now it's a different story how much I'm actually going to score in my exam, which is only day after tomorrow. But yeah, the bottom line is you need not to worry about the topics as long as you are willing to put an effort. Apart from that, assignments aren't monotonous. They are designed in such a way that it forces you to study on your own. If you want to achieve a good grade, then the assessments are all aligned up since the very first week. So you know already in which week you have your deadlines for what assignments and quizzes. And also there are they are planned in such a way that no deadlines, so that the deadlines do not overlap and you don't end up having too much of work in a particular week. So we actually ended up having a busy 12th week. And so our program director, Mr. Colin, actually acknowledged it and extended the deadline for our reports by a week. So like these small things make your life a lot easy, especially when you have a lot to do, in which is in the case of international students. And one thing I can assure you of is that university and professors will always try to make your life easy instead of complicating it, which came as a good surprise for me. And all the students are provided with an equal opportunity without any bias. So it all depends upon you how much you are willing to do and grab. So I'll talk you to about a few of my favorite courses during the first trimester, starting with the most popular, most favorite bioprocessing laboratory. So this particular program is provided in collaboration with NIBRD. And we had a 2-day training session from 9 to 5, which was tiring but equally fun. Not just for me, but for everyone. We were given a tour of the entire NIBRD facility, starting from where all the utilities of the plants like Wi-Fi system, HVAC system, then like are set up. Then we were taken to upstream suites where cells are cultured and inoculated and seeded. We got to see the rocking bed bioreactors, stainless steel bioreactors. Then we went to the downstream suites where we saw the centrifuge for harvesting products, stack filters for viral filtration, OFDF system. Then we were also taken to grade A classification room where we saw the wraps and isolators and how products are filled and finished. So this particular module actually gives you a brief of the entire process of biomanufacturing that you are going to have once you enter into your biopharma plant. For me, it was a particularly like important subject because as now, since I have already aware of these systems, I would not be as such. It would not be as such a shock to me when I actually enter into a biopharma plant because I am already aware of how things are designed, how they look, and how they work. So it will be just a scaled up version of what you have already experienced. Uh, so what we also did during our 2 days practical was we performed a set of different sets of experiment. So we did our cell viable cell counting in using a automated cell counter in a NIBRD animal cell culture lab. Then we did packaging of a column chromatography with a protein A resin. Then we did a practical on miniature of the simulation. And I actually never imagined I could be taught so much in a day, but eventually I did. Apart from these, there are other modules like industrial regulations, facility design, and bioanalytics, which are provided in collaboration with the NIBRD. And believe me, these modules are not just for the sake of knowledge. You will be needing them in your profession. And coming to the career part of, so coming to career part, what I have learned is that you need to uh, start working on it from very first month of the program. So it came as a shock to us as well. Like it was only a month into the program, and we were told we need to start applying from graduate programs from the very starting. So I remember we had a career fair on 29th of September in our university where all big pharma companies had come. So you can just go and meet and talk to the team members of any of these pharma company and ask about their graduate program, when the applications are going to open, what are the particular attributes and skills they are looking for in a candidate. So you can just go and ask these questions, and maybe after the career fair you can just go on and apply on their websites. You can design and like you can create your CV in accordance to whatever you have got, whatever information you have got from the career fair. And yeah, there's also a UCD career website where you can go and book one-on-one sessions for designing your CV. So what even I did was I schedule an one-on-one consultation with the one of the uh, over I even what I did was actually I schedule a one-on-one consultation with a Korean consultant, and you get a time of 10 minutes. So in that 10 minutes, you can actually ask them like to point out if there's anything wrong with your CV or how to design it, or maybe like any interview skill. And also on the career website, there is a CV 360 available and interview 360 application available. So you can just upload your CV on the CV 360, and it will automatically filter out, like it will give you an score, ATS score. So according to that, you can get to know what are the things which your CV is lacking and how to increase your overall CV score. And so for my personal career perspective, so when I started the program, I was very much more inclined toward getting into operation, specifically upstream processing, which involves cell line development, maintaining viable cell concentration and viability percentage, cell seeding, and uh, maintaining the culture of process run in bioreactor, taking in account of all critical process parameters. But like it has certainly changed now. I'm a bit more leaning towards the quality control job profiles, and I would give credit for that to the industrial regulation module. I remember our first class of industrial regulation, where we were asked what do we expect out of this module, and most of us ended up saying nothing as we were new to the particular area. I did not know a thing about EU regulation, directives, and legislatives for biopharma manufacturing on my first day of program. But the module takes you through the original documents which are put up there on the EUDRALEX website instead of any textbooks. So, like you are reading the real documents. And the volume 4, particularly the volume 4 of the EUDRALEX, which talks about CGMP guidelines for medical products, also the Annex 1 document, which talks you about manufacturing of sterile medicinal products. So then we were also taught about the ICHQ document, which is a standardization document between US, Europe, and Japan. Then we were also taught case studies of FDA warning letters, group exercises on risk assessment, and we had a group exercise on product sterility failure, and then we also learned how to open a deviation and implementing kappas in given scenarios. So all these particular activities led to development of my interest in quality sector, and I'm now much more inclined for getting a job in a quality assurance sector. So overall, it has been a really nice experience. In the last 3 months, I have got to learn a lot uh, compared to what I would have thought. So yeah, overall, it has been a nice experience here studying in UCD.
Great. Thank you so much, Astran. So really nice to hear about your experience and that you're liking the course so far, which is great. So I think we have a few minutes just to answer a couple of questions for anyone attending that needs something answered. So there's just one open question, Philip. I might throw it to yourself. It's just in relation to students who are interested in studying the biopharma program, the biopharmaceutical engineering program. What is the industry like for those students, and are they finding it easy to get into the pharma industry in Ireland?
Sorry, I was on mute there. Yeah, no, absolutely, Laura. Thanks very much. Like, to be honest, it's a very good time at the moment for graduates coming out of our programs in general, but in particular in the biopharmaceutical sector. As we kind of showed at the start, the sector itself is kind of booming in Ireland, and UCD has a very good reputation within that industry. So what I suppose we typically say, we obviously can't ever guarantee what will happen when someone comes out the other side, but going on past experiences, people who go through this program and complete it will be in a very good position coming out afterwards, because the industry is on your doorstep. Some of those people are actually coming in; they're actually teaching as part of the modules as well. And the program itself is very well connected out into the industry, so you'll be in a pretty good position coming out the other side of that. If you'd like to work in that sector, you'll have every opportunity to do so after this program.
Great. And then just if someone has a 4-year Bachelor of Pharmacy, would that program be suitable for them?
Yeah, so like one of the things we kind of show beforehand, like it's any BSc like that would be acceptable. So again, I'm not as familiar with pharmacy, but I'm assuming that would be classified as BSc. So yeah, that should be suitable coming through. And again, the one thing I would say as well, we're not a very big kind of operational, so you can reach out and you can ask these questions, and we will get back to you as well if you have specific queries around your individual application or individual suitability. We will get back to you. But yes, someone coming in with a BSc should be perfectly suitable for us.
Okay. Great. That's all the open questions we have. So unless anyone has any further questions, we've reached the end of our webinar today. Before we wrap up, just to let you know that if you do have follow-up questions or would like additional resources, please do reach out to us. My colleague Katie has popped her and my email address in the chat there. So thank you very much to our speakers today for your great insights, and thank you to everyone for joining us for the webinar, and we hope you found it interesting. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye.
Thanks.